Hello and welcome to World Talks here on TVP World with me, Hashim Kumar. Prime Minister Viktor Orbán of Hungary and his Fidesz party have been in power since 2010. In the years since then, Orbán's stance towards the EU has been confrontational on key issues, resulting in billions of euros of EU funds earmarked for Hungary being frozen by the bloc. Facing Fidesz on the Hungarian political scene is Peter Magyar of the Tisza party, which is expected to mount a serious challenge to Orban at the next elections early in 2026. Magyar promises to unlock EU funds, strengthen its commitment to NATO and adopt pragmatic relations with Russia. What do these promises mean, and what are Magyar's chances of being elected next year? Well, to analyse this, we are joined by Andrzej Sadecki at the Centre for Eastern Studies.
Hello,
welcome, sir, to TVP World, and thank you for joining us. Now, EU funds blocked to Hungary. Can you just lay out for us, please, what is blocking them?
So basically the problems with the rule of law and corruption in Hungary, and these are huge amounts. It's about 20 billion euro, which are essential for Hungary's economic development. In the past 10-15 years, Hungarian economy was running well, mainly thanks to the European funds. So this is a really big issue now for Hungary.
Okay, so Magyar is saying that he's going to kind of unblock those funds. What do you think he's expecting to do?
Well, first he has to win the elections, which is, a big task because Fidesz has been in power for 15 years and has been very entrenched in power. So if he wins, of course, he will try to get rid of the corruption and improve the state of rule of law. One of the movements he's already announcing is to join the European Prosecutor's Office that Orban's government refused to do. And this is also his kind of main message to the Hungarians now, that big part of the economic problems are because the power is corrupted and because we are not able to access the European funds.
Understood. So, as you just mentioned, Orban has been in power 15 years. That's a long time in which to embed the corrupt structures and so on that have resulted in this situation, and I suppose Hungary's attitude towards the EU generally, NATO and Ukraine as well. How popular are Magyar's policies amongst the electorate?
Well, first of all, he's very popular personally, and it is a phenomenon. I mean, a year ago, he was largely unknown figure in Hungarian politics, and his rise was extremely fast, which also indicate that in spite of the fact that Orban personally is still popular and he's been winning one election after another, there is a sense of frustration in the Hungarian society and the need for change. So far, Peter Magyar was running mainly on a sort of personal agenda. I mean, he is the one who is challenging Viktor Orbán with the promise of mainly making things better in the country regarding fighting corruption. And, the past 15 years was largely about, friends of Orban making big fortunes. Recently, we had a list of the wealthiest Hungarians, and on the first place, there is a childhood friend of Mr. Orban. So here, this is his main message. Regarding foreign policy, he is rather cautious, and it's also not the main issue that is kind of, at the center of the political debate.
Yeah, I want to come to foreign policy in just a second. But, the elections are in 2026. That's next year. Yeah, it's a long time in politics. So although Magyar is leading in some polls across the country, will he be able to sustain this level of popularity for the next 12 months? And does he have the resources and infrastructure to help him keep his message on track?
Yeah, that's the biggest challenge for Peter Magyar now. He's calling early elections, which is rather unlikely. So I think we can safely assume that the election will come in spring 2026, so a year and a couple of months from now. Well, he's building the movement. So far, it's been a bit of a one-man show. He's building his movement. He's raising funds, and he's very popular on social media. And that's the only kind of space that he can make use of, because the traditional media are in 70-80% dominated by the Fidesz party. So far he's been successful. It's still a long time. And the other issue is that Fidesz can mobilize a lot of resources. I mean, being in power for 15 years means that, the money is there, the capacity is there. And the previous elections showed that even if the opposition was high in polls half a year before the elections, in the last months, Fidesz party mobilized so much funds, so much dominated. I mean, it had such a big domination in the media that finally it was able to win.
Right. So it's an uphill struggle for Magyar, and we shall, of course, be watching that carefully. Now, going to international or foreign policy, Magyar says that he wants a pragmatic relationship with Russia. What do you think that means?
Well, I think he's cautious here. Firstly, because Hungary is dependent on Russia, and this dependence became even bigger in the past 15 years of Fidesz rule. So there is, of course, the dependence on Russian oil and gas. There is the nuclear project that Hungary implements with Russia. So probably he's aware that it cannot be kind of dealt with very fast after the election. Second thing is that he's aware that the government's propaganda will use every word he says. And in the past 15 years, the general narrative of the government was that Brussels and Washington are rather hostile to Hungary, while in Moscow, in Beijing, there is a will to cooperate, to invest in Hungary, to be reliable partners, and it haven't changed even after the Russian invasion on Ukraine. So here he has to be probably very careful not to give munition to the ruling party to attack him for being irresponsible, for serving Western interests, etc. So I think he's not declaring fully, kind of openly, his goals so far because of that.
Yes, but in the last minute or so that we have left, Mr. Sadecki, I mean, the thing is, Hungary should be serving Western interests. It's a member of NATO, isn't it?
Yes, definitely. I mean, I think he's in a very tight spot. The fact that he joined the European People's Party suggests that he would follow a rather mainstream policies in the EU and in NATO. However, I think for the domestic audience, he is communicating that very carefully.
Understood. Well, thank you very much indeed for joining us, Mr. Sadecki, and giving your analysis of the situation. Have a good day, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye-bye. And that's all from us in this episode of World Talks. Goodbye.